Our next presentation is linked to adoption, what we call the other side of adoption, which is transformation. Your transformation is just beginning. Sounds like we're all going to become butterflies or something. We're all going to break out of our cocoons and our comfort zones and become butterflies. The AI world is multi-cloud. Anticipate and build our human future with Dell Technologies. Please help me welcome to the stage a big CloudFest welcome for Jacques Boschung, who's the Senior Vice President of Global Alliances and Telco at Dell EMC. Jacques. Jacques and I are old friends, and Jacques told me last year at this event, when it was still called WPW World Hosting Days, thank you, that your son was so happy that his dad was here, and is he still just as excited that you're here at Europark?
Actually, David, I told you something else. I told you, David,
yes,
you made me a hero in the eyes of my son. So he's still young enough. I am still a hero. Next year, it's gone.
All right. We've got one more year. Jacques, over to you. Enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today. And in the next 30 minutes or so, what I would like to do is to show you how deeply our society is being impacted by what we call artificial intelligence, how much of that is actually being adopted by enterprise across the world. Today, it's happening. The next thing I would like to show you is what is the impact on cloud service provider, how is that changing what we call the cloud ecosystem, and last but not least, how you will thrive in that ecosystem. But let me start with my first statement. I claim that technologies is not only changing everything we do in IT, everything we do day by day, but it's deeply transforming the society. In fact, I am Swiss, and currently in Switzerland, there is a big thing happening, which is driving and which is sucking hundreds of thousands of visitors. It is the biggest motor show on Earth, which is happening this week in Geneva. Some of you may have gone there. And if we look at this motor show, the transition between last year and this year is mind-blowing. And why is that? Because this year, in this motor show, it's all about connected car, it's all about autonomous vehicle, it's all about electric vehicle as well to some extent. So autonomous vehicle, driverless car, they have the opportunity to change completely our society. And why is that? If you think 100 years ago, when the first engine came into the cities, it completely changed the cities. It changed the landscape, it changed the urban planning, it changed the hygiene of cities big time, because it was not nice to live in London back in the late 19th century. Driverless car, autonomous vehicle have the same potential. They will redesign cities at scale. They will change the civilization, they will change our way of life completely. They will rescale productivity as we name it. If you also think about the automotive industry is a $2 billion business worldwide, automotive industry. Rough and tough, the same size as IT, interestingly. For automotive industry, it's a big opportunity because they can tap into another market called the transportation market, which is $8,000 billion, so 4 times the size of the $2,000 billion of automotive industry. But it's a huge risk for them because the new entrant has the potential to disrupt them. So Geneva Motor Show, it's all about driverless car, it's all about technology. So let's see a bit now what kind of technologies have really the potential to make that transformation happen and are really contributing to this reshaping of our civilization, as I like to call it. We work together with the Institute for the Future, and the Institute for the Future has named a few of those technologies which are mind-blowing and reshaping our society. One of them is definitely artificial intelligence, big time. Machine learning was named on their list as well. But cloud computing, advanced reality, virtual reality. So you see that full list of technologies means that we are going into a new area, and this new era is the era of human-machine partnership. So you can see on the picture behind me that this robot is ready to partner with you guys. So do you want to partner with them is a big question. And how can we, together, we, Dell Technologies, together with our partner, with our cloud service provider, enable that transformation and enable that partnership between human and machines. The next thing which is quite interesting to look at is the future bright or is the glass half empty? And we have conducted together with an institute for research called Venson Born a big survey earlier this year on 3,000 decision makers across the globe, across all the industries. And it was all about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and the transformation that digitization of the business is driving to their way of working. But that question was more personal. So what is the impact in your specific case as a business leader of that automation? Will that change the way you work? Will that enable you guys to work and to set more focus on important things? So 50%, as you can see on the left-hand side of the slide, said yes, it will, that automation level will enable me to be much more effective and to focus myself on the right thing. But then the next question was interesting. Will that increase your job satisfaction? And only 40% said, yes, it will increase my job satisfaction. 60% said, hey, you know what? I don't think so. So for many people, as you can see, potentially the glass is half empty. And I think it's part of our mandate, we people in technologies, to make that journey, to help them leverage that technology and to help them make that journey. And by the way, it's no more future. It's today. It's happening. So artificial intelligence is reshaping things as we speak. So a good example is the example of MasterCard here. So MasterCard has been using business intelligence for years to track and detect fraud. However, as long as they did not have a combination of machine learning and artificial intelligence with deep learning algorithm, they were not able to be extremely accurate and wrong, and the worst thing was that they were producing loads of what we call wrong impact. So they were producing a lot of cases which were absolutely not true. So all those false positive were creating a lot of insatisfaction with their customers. So since they use artificial intelligence and deep learning, they have been able to remove all the false positive. Almost all are gone. And on top of that, they have created a higher level of customer satisfaction, creating what they call digital persona, tracking frequent traveler and being able to be extremely close to their pattern of behavior. In my case, it happened to me. In fact, I was supposed to be in Vegas. I was not in Vegas, still in Europe, but I had a booking on my credit card due to a pre-booking of hotel. It was not considered as a positive case, so they could really wave that away thanks to artificial intelligence. That's one example in the financial services industry. Another example, which is even more telling and maybe closer to what we do together, you as cloud service provider and us, Dell Technologies, as merchant of arms to what you do, is the case of the University of Pisa. Established in 1343 by a pope, by an edict of a pope, Clement VI, it's one of the oldest universities in the world, in the top 20 oldest universities in the world. Already in the early 80s, they were using neural network and genetic algorithm to work on artificial intelligence. In the meantime, their IT department has really increased and developed that activity, by the way, powered by a joint center between Intel and Dell EMC, together with their HPC center. And they offer as a service for all the internal institute of research and for the student as a service. So they offer machine learning as a service, artificial intelligence as a service, and thus for all sorts of industries. They offer that for semiconductor industry. They offer that for biophysics, signal detection and signal interpretation, for, as I said, machine learning, but also for facial recognition. So plenty of different activities powered by Dell Technologies that are enabled by the university, the IT of the University of Pisa. So if you think about it, IT of the University of Pisa is like you. It is a cloud service provider. They offer that internally, but also externally to the market and to the industry around. So a big example of how government, together with industry, can work together and make AI real. Another example, which is even more impactful, is agriculture. So now you start to think agriculture, artificial intelligence, those two things go together. So that company called AeroFarms, which is based out of New Jersey, in Newark actually, is the largest vertical farm. So they are growing crops in a vertical building. So in 2050, we will need 50% more food to be able to feed mankind. Currently, because of the climate change, landscapes are getting quite scarce to be able to achieve that. So we need to find new ways. And that farm, which is far from being a farm, actually it's an IT system, full of edge system, full of gateways, full of compute power, is creating that possibility. So actually, if you look at what they do in New Jersey, in that specific farm, they use 95% less water than in classical farming for the same level of production, which is one thing. Productivity now, their level of productivity is between 130 and 400 times bigger than any specific traditional farm. So it's a key success of the combination of IoT, of artificial intelligence, which enables them to anticipate plenty of events in their farm. Actually, the whole thing is powered by Dell Technologies. I mentioned we have edge gateways, 3001 and 3003, to collect and have closed-loop orchestration close to the edge of the system. But we have also Azure Stack from Dell EMC, and we did provide advice with our IoT team. So a clear key example of what we are able to do for agriculture. Another example back in the government is what we do with Wi-Fi. As you all remember, the Thomas Fire back in December last year, which destroyed in California almost 300,000 acres of vegetation, basically. In the meantime, the fire brigade of Los Angeles, for a couple of years, is using a very complex AI system that enables them to track fire and anticipate. So it's really preventive and predictive systems that enables them to anticipate and intervene before the fire. Even the public has access to those images and to the dynamic of the fire, which is refreshed every 15 minutes. All that is powered by Dell Technologies. So again, an interesting impact. We could have said, by the way, exactly the same for law enforcement. The same kind of system, the same kind of logic would have provided law enforcement solution. So I think that at the light of those 4 examples, you understand that it's already real. And Forrester has lately produced a new research that says that 70% of the enterprises will adopt in the next 12 months AI, which is the headline, the tagline. But if you go deep dive into that report, you will discover something else. 2/3 of currently in-used AI systems are AI as a service, provided by a software vendor as a service or provided by a cloud service provider as a service. Forrester believes that by the end of this year, it will be 80%. So there is a big movement to the cloud, as you can see and that you can understand from that example of Forrester. Also quite interesting in the way the decision makers are thinking, 50% say our AI systems, which enable us to be more competitive in the marketplace, will be all powered by a multi-cloud environment. Now, the word is out, multi-cloud environment. We believe at Dell Technologies that artificial intelligence is by design a multi-cloud environment. We believe that by the nature of the data, by the type of compute that you need to proceed, by also the sheer nature of the customer you are dealing with, AI has a preferred platform, which is cloud, but this cloud is a combination of private cloud, for some instance, dedicated hosted cloud, like the one you guys can provide to end customers, and to some extent also the public cloud. It depends on the nature of the data. We are all aware, for instance, that this year is a big year in terms of cybersecurity and European regulation. I remember I was last year on the stage and I was preaching about GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation that comes into force in May, that has big impact for all the companies across the world, in where cloud service provider, if we are smart together, we can position ourselves as being a trusted advisor to companies, because 80% of the companies in Europe are not ready for GDPR. So, depending on the nature of the data, you have a multi-cloud environment. But more importantly, let me make a statement here that you may want to challenge. What used to be new has now aged. And what do I mean by that? If you look at the past, the statement was the following. 4 years ago, if you would ask a futurologist, so somebody looking at a crystal ball, he would have told you, yes, in the future what I see is a big cloud and devices. And that big cloud will be based on maybe 5, 8 hyperscalers. So Amazon, Google, you name it. That vision is no more. And why is that vision no more? Because in the meantime, what really happened was the rise of IoT. And what does IoT require, as you can see on that picture from the left to the right? First, IoT require data that are captured by the things, by the object. But those data, they are in many cases operated, made operational by real-time application that needs extremely low latency. And the content delivery network between the cloud and those things, if I really think about hyperscaler, has a latency of 150 milliseconds. What they need, those applications, advanced reality, virtual reality, control, real-time control, they need less than 1 millisecond. What does that mean? It means that a lot of compute is moving to the edge of the system, and that's the birth of edge computing. Everybody speaks about edge computing today, and they are right. Because another component of edge computing is what is happening on the telco space. 5G. I was 10 days ago at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. It was all about 5G. I was speaking about Geneva Motor Show, all about driverless car. Mobile World Congress, all about 5G. Big, big, big trends. By the way, 5G will enable the driverless car, as I was mentioning before. So you have now a continuum of compute from the edge. At the edge, you have object. Then you have edge gateways that can produce some compute. Then you need to have edge data center. We call that at Dell Technologies micro-modular data center to produce a closed-loop orchestration of those applications that really leverage the data at the edge. Then you have the data center itself, where we are in a leading position because we are number one in x86 servers, number one in storage. And then you go to the cloud, maybe for cold data, for non-sensitive data. And there, again, Dell Technologies can help with plenty of tools for the burst into the cloud. So what was new has now aged. Don't get foolish with that thing. A new wave of change may happen soon, but I believe with 5G, because again, 5G first implementation in October this year. The first one will be Swisscom in Switzerland. I'm Swiss, so I'm proud. So I did my pride today. But it will change the nature of things even further, and it will enable some of the key applications that will change society. So, now, if you are a service provider, a cloud service provider, you need to start offering something else as a service. What I mean by that is the following. Some would say, yes, infrastructure as a service is past. I'm not going that far. That's a bridge too far. But yes needs to be highly standardized. So if you remember what was the case 10 years ago. 10 years ago, enterprise customers would do the following. They would build infrastructure and buy application from SAP, Oracle, or Microsoft. Today, because software is eating the world, because applications are pervasive, what do they want to do, enterprise customer? They want to buy infrastructure and to build applications that give them a competitive edge. You guys, cloud service provider, you are the ultimate buyer. Because if I buy infrastructure from you, I have it as a service, I can potentially have variable cost across the board. But to do that, to be competitive, you also need not to build infrastructure yourself, but to buy infrastructure from a partner. And we can be that partner with our number one position in hyper-converged and converged solution as an example, which are the best type of infrastructure to run a cloud. So you need to be position yourself also with something else as a service. You need to go up in the value chain to stay attractive for your customer. You need to provide potentially AI as a service. Maybe you need to provide data lake as a service for your customer so that they run their analytics, which is quite compute hungry and consume a lot of resources on your data center. So plenty of options, but you will need to elevate your game, and we believe that we can be a good partner for that. As we speak about elevating the game, there is one statement that pops into mind, which is eat your own dog food. What do we mean by that? That's Leo, by the way. So say hello to Leo. He's a good dog. So eat your own dog food. We mean by that that if you want to position yourself in this AI as a service market, you need to use AI yourself to run your infrastructure, to make sure that your infrastructure is faultless, is highly available, is better than the rest of the market, because again, IaaS is going into more and more into a commodity. Solutions exist to run artificial intelligence and machine learning across an IT infrastructure. We can help, but also think about cybersecurity. That's where artificial intelligence, like in my example with MasterCard and the fraud prevention and the false positive prevention, like in the MasterCard case, that's where it really makes the difference big time. So, taking your agility to the next level means that you will truly embrace that transition. We believe that, and Gartner believes that, only people able to embrace an ecosystem, only service provider and subsequently cloud service provider able to embrace an ecosystem will be successful in what they call the late T's, so 80s, 90s. What do they mean by that? They mean by that the winner will be the guys in the ecosystem. You need to go after your enterprise customers, your end customer, with a combination of solutions, with an infrastructure well-oiled, with AI, to guarantee the high availability, and potentially with Dell Technologies as your partner for that specific ecosystem. But you also need to have vertical solution with a flavor that attract your end customer and that makes sense, and potentially to offer machine learning as a service or AI as a service, as I was mentioning before. We believe at Dell Technologies that because of our presence from the edge to the core, you see the core in the middle of that slide, to the cloud, we believe that we are extremely well positioned to help you across the entire value chain and to make you successful across the entire value chain. So, our invitation is to join our ecosystem. The organization I'm running across Europe, Middle East, and Africa is really here to enable cloud service providers like you. I have plenty of my teammates who are on the booth later on. I'll come back on that. And we can show you what we can do. What we do, we enable your solution. We connect you with other providers. We create winning coalition to win together in the marketplace. We develop joint go-to-market as well. But also, more importantly, we create platform for you guys to share information among you, because you are at the same time competitor and you collaborate. That's a former concept of co-opetition, which has become so important. And since I am working for Dell, there is no Dell presentation without a statement of the boss. So I picked that statement of the boss because it's quite accurate in the context we are today. So insight will make the difference. So companies that will be successful, but companies with a broad C, us, merchant of arm to your cloud, you, cloud service provider, your customer in the automotive industry or in financial services, the ability to leverage the data and to extract value from the data, to get insight from the data, will again separate the winner from the loser. Again, we believe that winner and loser will separate according to the ecosystem they are working in, and that's why I was inviting you to join our ecosystem. We even ask you to connect with us and to ecosystem with us. We have a booth on this nice fair. We have tomorrow an interesting event, which is fast-track deployment of a multi-cloud. Remember what we have been discussing so far? We believe that the new world, the world of edge computing, is a multi-cloud environment with a continuum of compute from the left to the right, and we will demonstrate our capabilities in a multi-cloud environment. We have also, because in this new age of human and machine partnership, we still have glasses together and we still drink stuff together, so we have a booth reception tomorrow at 4:30, and again, you see the hashtag, we can work together big time. I would like to make a last comment before inviting David back on stage, which is the following. Dell Technologies and Intel have been working together for more than 20 years in a very, very synergetic approach. In fact, everything we do in that space, in the data center, in the workforce transformation, is powered by Intel. Intel and Dell have a $12 billion relationship, so together we are providing the right solution for this new world of edge computing, for this new world of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and for this new paradigm of partnership between human and machines. So I do thank you for your attention, and I call David back on stage.
Thank you, Jacques. Stay with us a minute. Jacques is the ultimate professional. He sent me the 3 takeaways from his presentation just in case I couldn't capture them, and I like working with professionals. AI is real and now. And we've heard that several times across today. I think that's something we can all agree with. The vast majority of enterprises adopting or will be adopting AI in the coming months. So we saw the figure from, was it Gartner? Forrester, 70%. And what was the percentage of those AI adoptions that would be AI as a service?
So currently 2/3, and Forrester believes at the end of the year, 80% of those adopting will take that as a service. So again, the opportunity is quite immense.
Fabulous. Takeaway number 2, the new paradigm will be multi-cloud and edge. And again, we've heard that at various times across today. The only way to make AI work. So there's a compelling reason for, but I think that's an agreed one. And the presentation we had earlier from one of the partners and their hybrid cloud enablement was another way to get to multi-cloud. And the third takeaway, cloud service providers need to position themselves as AI as a service offering thanks to the ecosystem. And the ecosystem is the piece I want to come back to, because I think the cloud means selling collectively, co-selling or collaboratively selling with partners to exchange value. You don't have to do the whole mix anymore, but you have to know which partners to find that have that skill set, that competence, that technology, that savoir-faire that you don't have, that complements to extend or augment your value proposition. So tell us a little bit more about how that partner ecosystem works, Jack.
Yeah, so I think it's a very good question. So currently we are having conversation with end customers where we combine a cloud service provider like you together with an advisory group, people like Accenture or Deloitte,
okay,
to name two. And Deloitte is providing the business solution, and then and since they collaborate with us and the cloud service provider, they can operate it extremely fast. So we are exactly in the definition of Forrester, of those 80% that will adhere and embrace such an ecosystem. So basically, the solution can be brought to the customer only thanks to this alliance between us, merchant of ARM to the cloud service provider who can really operate the solution for the end customer, all the compute and the storage and the data lake stuff, and of course, the advisory group, who is really at the tip of the iceberg, providing the business value to the end customer.
Very good. So this is much higher than a marketplace type model. This is a much more complex and involved with more skill
sets. In fact, I could have played that differently. I could have spoken about a smaller customer service provider working with a local advisor.
Okay.
And when the two of them, they found a solution which provide automation for, I think it was building automation, and they brought that to a local real estate manager. So you have two examples, a high-level example and a low-level, so more mid-market example. In both cases, it's the same construction.
Very good, thank you. So summarizing, the C in cloud, the first letter of cloud, stands for collaborating and co-selling. That's the new business model of the future, enabled by hybrid cloud, enabled by selling AI as a service. Jack, thank you once again, a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Always great presentation.
To be here. Thank you, guys. Enjoy.